Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. You're listening to Elton Talks. I'm your host Elton, and in this episode, we are going to be discussing the second episode of Loki, the Variant. Loki was captured by the TVA after escaping with the Tesseract in 2012 during the Avengers time heist. He learned the great power of the TVA and is asked by Mobius to help in catching another variant of himself. We start this episode with the TVA checking on a next event in 1980s in Wisconsin. The variant mind controls one of the Minutemen and uses her to disarm all her fellow mates while the variant finishes them, taking the reset charges and escaping. This scene reminded me of how Wanda used her powers first on the Avengers back in Avengers Age of Ultron. Later, with the help of Loki, the TVA head to 2015 Alabama, where a storm is going to cause major destruction and could be the hiding place of the variant. The variant interacts with Loki by mind controlling those around him while she sets up the reset charges. I like the way the scene played out, but I was not blown away when Sofia DiMartino took her hood off. Many speculated that the variant was Lady Loki, but during the interaction with Loki, the variant didn't want to be called Loki. This made me think that the variant could actually be Enchantress, as rumors said that this would be a mix of Lady Loki and Enchantress. Either the TVA has mistaken Enchantress for a version of Loki and she is just tired of people recognizing her as Loki, or Lady Loki just hates to be called Loki for some reason. Another detail to note is that when the variant first appears in front of Loki, his lines to her asking, "What do you want from me? What is this about?" echo in the background. This could be an hint or something we may understand as the series progresses. I have high hopes for this character no matter who she turns out to be. My only problem is that if she is Lady Loki or Enchantress, she doesn't look much like a comic book counterparts, which is not a problem but makes me confused as to who is this character actually and what to expect from her. The fact that she was able to bomb the sacred timeline, which possibly created the multiverse in her first appearance, makes this variant, so called version of Loki, a character to keep an eye on and not be surprised if she did something even crazier. As much as I loved the first two Disney Plus MCU shows, they felt like they were shying away from having events that were huge that altered the MCU. For example, Wanda's Hex could have affected the whole world, but other heroes would need to interact somehow even if mind controlled by Wanda, and WandaVision, though very important for the Scarlet Witch, remained mostly contained within Westview. With the amazing final segment of episode 2 of Loki, it feels like that is about to change. Though I don't believe there is one sacred timeline, but if there is, the bombing by the variant just altered the MCU by creating the multiverse. A first for an MCU Disney Plus show in my opinion. This could be the origin or re-emergence if you believe Miss Minute's explanation of the multiverse, and be the main catalyst for events like Spider-Man No Way Home and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, with the former rumored to have rules or at least appearances from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man from the Amazing Spider-Man duology. The implications of this could possibly be limited to only the series and have no effect on the MCU as a whole, like Wanda expanding the X at the end of WandaVision episode 5. We will just need to wait and watch. When Loki mentions his plan about taking over the Timekeepers, the variant's expression made me feel there is some connection between the variant and the Timekeepers or the TVA that we don't know about. And maybe as revenge or in order to avoid being caught, she bombed the sacred timeline. The field agent who was taken hostage by the variant reveals that she disclosed the timekeeper's location, so the timekeepers are real? I'm not sure. And continuously utters it was real, which is surely a setup for some revelation in the future. There is also a possibility that the variant has bigger plans and created all these Nexus timelines to keep the TVA distracted or to get something from these Nexus timelines. When the bombing occurred, few notable places popped up on Renslayer's screen. Among many locations on Earth were locations like Asgard, Hala, the Kree homeworld from the Captain Marvel movie, Ego, the living planet from the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Vormir, the planet where the Soul Stone lies from Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, Titan, Thanos' homeworld featured in Avengers Infinity War, Xandar, home to the Nova Corps featured in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, Sakaar, the planet where the Grandmaster holds his contest featured in Thor Ragnarok. This could just be Easter eggs, but could also be well-planned setup for future stories involving the multiverse. These locations could be reset by the TVA after some Nexus event, but the variants' actions could have undone them, leaving these timelines to grow, creating the multiverse. The bombing of the sacred timeline also made the TVA agents, who were mostly calm, panic, and Renslayer took her weapon getting ready for some action. Seeing the TVA take this so serious and looking at that timeline branching and growing added to the effect of the bombing. Whether this will last and lead into following movies or get solved in this series is something that will determine the importance of events in this and upcoming series. A lot of big revelations come from dialogues between characters. Loki explains the difference between duplication casting and illusion projection, which might be the difference between the powers of Loki and the new variant. Loki has used both during his time in the MCU though. When Mobius is in Renslayer's office, he asks her how the Timekeepers were, hinting that he hasn't seen the Timekeepers. Renslayer hints that she has other analysts working for her other than Mobius. In the comics, the TVA consisted of duplicates of a single person. So could this be an end to multiple Mobius's program to do work? Mobius confronts Loki regarding the reason he is helping the TVA and calls him a little scared child who is cold, referring to when Odin first found Loki as a baby, meaning he feels bad for Loki. And further conversation shows that Mobius knows how to handle Loki. When taking break from finding locations of major catastrophes where the variant could be hiding, Loki asks Mobius about the jet ski magazine from earlier. Mobius expresses his liking for the 90s. Could he be from the 90s mind wipe to work here? If not, he certainly has some connection to the 90s. The duo go on to discuss about existence, which also questions the existence of the Timekeepers, as Mobius claims that they created the TVA and everyone in it. Loki, replying to Mobius' scared boy comment, says, "No one bad is ever truly bad, no one good is ever truly good." Just a hint at Loki's dual nature, or will this mean something for future episodes? Talking about the final scene where Loki follows the variant through the time door, I don't think he's up to some mischief here. Either he's going behind Lady Loki to avoid getting caught by the TVA, who would most likely blame him for causing the destruction to the sacred timeline, or is following Lady Loki to learn more about the Timekeepers and the TVA so he can ultimately execute his plan. Or is even following Lady Loki so that he can get to know her plans and warn Mobius about them, and hence working with Mobius. My expectations for this series is very high. I'm hoping that it actually has some effect on the overall MCU unlike its predecessors, but I wouldn't hate another character-centric series either. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you think the variant is? Amalgamation of Enchantress and Lady Loki, Enchantress or Lady Loki? And what do you think is Loki's plan behind following the variant? Is he up to some mischief? Is he helping Mobius or is he helping himself? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll see you next week with the discussion for the third episode of Loki. Until then, take care. Love you 3000.